Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hope you are doing well today. Well, today we're going to shake it up a little bit. We're going to shake it up and talk about some other things, but to keep it in context to what I know. And if anybody knows Meghan Markle, I know Meghan Markle. Okay? I can see that girl coming a mile away. I can tell you everything you want to know about this woman because I've got laser focus on this woman in her brain. Like, I get her. I get her. And there's just too many similarities to not get her. But what I find interesting is all this talk about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively now. It is everywhere. And as I'm watching it, I'm noticing these patterns, these things that are so similar to what Meghan is actually like. And I feel like, you know what? Let me talk about it. Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today because I think it warrants a conversation. And I think it kind of shakes it up and gives us a new direction to focus on. And why I believe what you are watching right now is what could have been the case had Meghan Markle been more successful in Hollywood. Maybe, just maybe it could be her future that we are watching with this whole Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. Okay, so this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively situation is something that you can find on a lot of other channels. A lot of people are speaking about it. There's a lot of information out there. So what I'm going to do is give you a basic overview of what I know and my opinion about how this is nothing more than what Meghan Markle is when you look at the Blake Lively situation. When you look at someone who is Blake Lively and everything that has happened with this movie that she did with Justin Baldoni, everything that you are seeing is exactly the kind of person that Meghan is, in my opinion. Meghan is the kind of person who would definitely pull this Blake Lively position. Like that is exactly who Meghan Markle is. And what you can expect from someone like Meghan, should you give her these platforms, give her the access to celebrity the way Blake Lively has had it. She's been, I wouldn't say she's like very, very successful, but it looks like an A-lister. I mean, she's married to an A-lister, right? Ryan Reynolds. So there's a lot that she's accomplished. And I think for Blake to be behaving the way she is, because I'm going to tell you why in a second, Meghan meets that criteria. She meets that kind of profile. Okay, so just to give you just a basic overview of some information, the movie that they did called It Ends With Us, and I remember this book when it came out because my daughter wanted this book. Okay, my daughter. And I was like, okay, you reading? Oh, that's wonderful. And she wanted to read this book. Well, come to find out, it's the movie version of that book I bought for my daughter a while ago. I was like, oh, okay. It's like I'm getting all these connections and things. Okay, yeah, that's that movie. So I ended up watching the movie. I thought the movie was interesting, very interesting. Yeah, that's what I'll say about the movie. It did do very well. It grossed over $351 million worldwide. It's about overcoming trauma with a complicated love story. Now, the rumors around Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, they began really on social media during the promotional time for this film when they were doing all the publicity around this film. And what people noticed in the beginning is that Blake and Justin did not follow each other on social media. And this got people to really question, well, what's going on with them and why are they not following each other, considering they just did this big blockbuster movie together. And most of the people from the cast of the movie It Ends With Us were following Justin, and I'm sorry, they were following Blake and not Justin. So this rift really began between the two when Justin, they say, was fat shaming Blake Lively with, making inappropriate comments. And when you dig deeper into the truth around the allegations, the truth is a lot more realistic than what Blake is saying, because Blake is saying things that put Justin in a bad light. But when you hear the full story behind Blake's allegations, it makes sense that Blake was leaving certain things out to meet her narrative, because she had something happen with Justin. Something caused Blake to just hit a wall and to just turn on Justin. Now, some of the things that I heard about were that Meghan, look, you see, that's Freudian, I think. I think Blake, she wanted to create more around the character, do more creative, or have more of a creative input around the movie. It ends with us. And slowly she started taking over things around the production of the movie rather than staying in her lane and just being the actress who was hired to do this job. And she even spoke about wanting to do this when she was a part of other projects. I heard these excerpts. I can't remember where I heard them, but I actually heard her talking about when she's hired as an actress to want to overtake the production and to offer her creative insight. And I'll never forget when I did a movie with a very A-list actor, and I gave my input on the wardrobe around a watch that they wanted me to wear. And I remember the person who was doing the wardrobe, they told me to stay in my lane. And it happened on another shoot that I did. They said, stay in your lane, and look, we got this. And that's when I noticed, yeah, okay, I may feel or want to contribute to something, but I need to stay in my lane because I've been hired to do a specific job. And that's what I do, no matter how much I may want to, veer off course and give my input about something. Stay in your lane. And that's something people need to learn, because when you are somebody that feels like, oh, you can contribute something, or you want to help be a leader and offer insight, you can slip into a territory that leads you down a road that you should not be going down. And that's a learned thing. You have to learn to pull back and shut your mouth and just do your job that you were hired to do. And Blake Lively is the kind of woman that doesn't want to do that. She wants her voice to be heard. Now, who else does this sound like to us? Yeah, it sounds a lot like Meghan Markle. Hence, not wanting to stay within the royal family because she wanted to veer off and do what she wanted to do as a royal. She wanted to call the shots. And this is why she convinced Harry to leave and go off. And, we know the story around that. But it's very similar to Blake. And then there was a big controversy about the premiere of the movie, how Justin Baldoni ended up watching the premiere of the movie in the basement of the facility where the premiere was, and not in the main auditorium where Blake was with other people. Like, Blake essentially started casting all these diversions and all this negative information onto things that Justin did during the filming of the movie. You almost have to think, well, what happened? Why did Blake turn? Was it because they didn't want to give her a lot of the control to take over the film? Now, from some of the text messages and things that I was watching and seeing, Justin was slowly kind of trying to involve Blake into the making of the movie by slowly giving her a lot of creative control. However, and Justin felt like he didn't want to be rude. I think he wanted to, this was his first time directing and also starring in a movie. So it was a lot that he had to do. And I think giving up his control was something he didn't want to do. But I think he was trying to do it to be nice. And a lot of things just happened around the filming. But there was a roadblock. Now, I'm going to give you my take on what I think happened and why Blake Lively has turned on Justin Baldoni, because you have to understand that there had to be something that triggered it. Now, with everything that I said around what Blake has done, you have to understand that Blake is trying to set a narrative because out of nowhere she starts complaining about things on the set. She starts wanting to take over the production. There was a meeting with, I guess, Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, that told Justin off in front of all their friends, and things got really nasty because, of course, Ryan is going to believe his wife, Blake Lively, when Blake says, such and such happened on the set. Such and such happened to me when. Okay, and then Blake sues Justin for emotional distress. And you start to see that she was starting something that she had to follow through with a lawsuit. Then an article came out in the New York Times when no one knew about the allegations or anything. It was just on the set. Then there's an article that comes out in the New York Times. And then there's a lawsuit later. And so through social media, Justin is trying to defend himself against all these allegations that he's hearing that Blake is saying about him. He ends up putting information on a website. He ends up countersuing. It's starting to get really nasty. And I kept thinking to myself, why is this Blake woman doing this to this guy, Justin? Because she's saying that he sexually harassed her. He did all these things. People, WME dropped Justin Baldoni like days after Blake came out with the accusations. Justin's co-star to this podcast they were doing called Justin out and, sided with Blake immediately. It was like the minute Blake said something happened, people immediately went to the defense of Blake without even knowing the full facts about what happened, not even hearing Justin's side. So that's when Justin put, I think he did all these things around defending himself. Even he hired a crisis management person to help him with all this negativity that was coming out about him, all these accusations that were coming at him. And things just got to a head, and then we start seeing social media posts around it, and there are things coming out about the kind of person Blake is. And I'm thinking, well, who is this Blake girl? I'm like, what in the world is going on? And I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing my Meghan stories, and then I start looking at stories about Blake, about how what a nasty person she is, and how passive aggressive she is, and what a snooty tootie she is, or A-lister, and the things that Ryan Reynolds has done and to defend her, and how he's just a piece of work. And then I started Googling and watching things about Justin, and I only saw really nice things about Justin. And I saw all these really negative things around Blake Lively and about her past and what she's done and what she's like as a person. Because you have to understand, I don't know these two people from Adam. I'm full royal family mode, okay? But then you start to see the past of someone like Blake Lively and the past of someone like Justin. I think that gives you good insight into the kind of person they are when you try to see, well, who are these people? And so what I did is I looked at all the things around the two, and I saw not such good things around Blake from years ago, and wonderful, nice things around Justin, because out of the two, he was the lesser known of the actors. But there's a whole history of things about him on the internet. I watched the proposal that he did for his wife, Emily. I watched the house tour that he gave around their modest home in Los Angeles. I mean, this is somebody who has struggled to make it in Hollywood, put in the hard work, and also has put some of his life on social media. And I really became to like this Justin guy as a really nice guy. And I could not believe the things that Blake Lively was saying about him. And so it kind of gave me some insight. And this is what I think happened. Okay, this is what I think happened. When you're an actor and you're working very closely with people in very intimate settings in a movie, it's very easy to fall for a person when you are in this kind of environment. This is why you have to really, really work hard at when they say cut, you don't play and entertain ideas around your co-star because it could lead you down paths that could not be good for you. Well, in the past, it has happened to people like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. They were actually with other people when they met on the set of Green Lantern in 2010. They actually fell for each other, and they came out later saying that no, we were already left our significant others prior to getting together. There's a whole bunch of stories around how that happened. The fact is, it happened, and it happened very closely around the time that both Blake and Ryan Reynolds left their significant others. And then Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively get together, they marry, they have 4 children, and Blake is now doing this movie with Justin in close, intimate settings of I love you feelings. And when you're an actor, you got to go there. You have to have a chemistry. And when I watched the movie, to me, they looked like they had a lot of chemistry together. And you can't fake that kind of chemistry unless you are doing your job as an actor and really getting to know the person that you're working with and doing the work, because you can pick it up on camera if there's no real connection between the two of you. But you have to also understand, okay, this is just acting. I'm going home to my significant other and I'm not going to entertain ideas. Well, what I think happened was Blake didn't stop thinking about Justin when the camera was cut, when they said cut with the scene. I think she continued to entertain her feelings for Justin. And I believe Justin, as the director, did not entertain his feelings, perhaps for Blake, because he is happily married with his wife. He's the director of this film. He's got an enormous amount of responsibility. I think he just wanted to make sure this movie did really well. So I can see his motivation for really going there with his feelings, but understanding when to cut. I think Blake fell for this man. And when this man, Justin, did not advance her feelings, that's when Blake went, and that's what I think. She turned on Justin and started making up things about what he did. And then when Justin was able to come out with the receipts to show the full story of what Blake's accusations were, then it's like, okay, you see who the big liar is here. And I think Blake had to follow through because she was rejected and people saw perhaps certain text from her. She had to make up lies to make Justin the villain, to protect her own brand and her own marriage. Now, we know there are still lawsuits pending in this case. There's a lot left to still be decided upon in terms of evidence and accusations to come out. There's still a lot going on. But for the purposes of just giving you my perspective on everything around Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, I wanted you to understand that I can see this being the reason why it happened. And now we've got 2 people, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, who are in the middle of a PR firestorm that is going to make or break one or both of them. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I do see a lot of people siding now with Justin now that he is defending himself against these allegations that Blake is putting upon him, because that's what makes sense. It doesn't make sense that you would just make up all these allegations about a man when you are in Hollywood trying to make it as an actress. Just come out of nowhere and start lying about things that were done to you. Now, I could see if it were true, that's one thing. But when the allegations prove to not be really true and Justin brings out the receipts, what is your motivation? Why are you doing this, Blake Lively? And the only reason could be because she was rejected. She wanted to do something, and in order to not be looked at as the bad person who wanted to perhaps go a little bit of extra with her co-star, she had to make him out to be the villain. And that's what I believe happened. And it's unfortunate because now Justin has to defend himself. It could cost him so much. It's already cost him his agent and his reputation if people are going to believe this Blake Lively. But I do not believe Blake Lively one bit. I can see her coming too. Just like I see that Meghan girl coming, I can see Blake too. Because there's no reason why you would suddenly start doing things to jeopardize your career on a lie. Making up lies about a man when you are trying to get your celebrity A-list status more elevated, because she wasn't really doing all that. I mean, Gossip Girl was the only other really big film that I saw that she did, and some other small parts, but I think her status just got to her. The little bit of status she had in Hollywood got to her. And when she was rejected, she wanted to go full crazy mode to protect herself. And now she's in it and trying to get people to side with her. It's a big hot mess, folks. Hot mess. That's what I believe happened, but I'll keep watching it and then occasionally doing a video about it. There's just a lot there. And in my opinion, it screams the exact kind of behavior that Meghan Markle would do, the things she would do had she been elevated to a level of actress as Blake Lively has been so far. I mean, I think she's not that quite high up, but the fact that this has happened, this all looks like a Meghan Markle move. I'm sorry. And that's my opinion. That's what I think happened. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.